All right, what is up, everybody? So we're back with another CLS 550 video. I hope you guys enjoyed the top 5. I know some people were, again, stating the CLS 555 was better looking. That's fine. I think it is a good looking car. I just kind of prefer this one, but that's why we all are, allowed to our opinions. So in today's video, I want to talk about this. So I want to talk about the engine for these cars because I've owned the previous generation, or I guess the predecessor to this engine. I haven't owned any of the new ones because the new ones are technically only AMG specific, but I have owned the previous one. I kind of want to just talk about some of the things you should look out for with this motor and how it's been over the last it's gonna be almost 4 weeks, and I think next week. So let's go ahead and hop in this video. So let's just start from the basics. What is this? So of course you guys can see it says V8 on it, so clearly it's a V8, but okay, all jokes aside, this is what Mercedes calls the M278. So this is a 4.7 liter twin turbo V8, and this is the successor to the M273, which was a successor to one of the greatest engines Mercedes ever built, the M113, which is, still in my opinion one of the greatest V8s Mercedes ever built, but we won't talk about that today. The M273 was a 5.5 liter naturally aspirated V8, and if you scroll through my channel, you'll see that I used to own a 2007 S550, which had the M273. Now, the M273 was a great motor. It made like 360, I want to say, horsepower. It's been a while. Don't quote me on it, but I think around like 360, maybe a little bit more. 360 horsepower, natural aspirated, 5.5. It was pretty good. It had a good amount of torque, and it wasn't fast because the S-Class is a big car and it was heavy, but I mean, it was quick. I mean, when you get on it, get out of its own way, so it wasn't a problem. But this one, on the other hand, is definitely, in my opinion, way better. At least I think so. So the M273 had its own issues. I mean, balance shaft, or on that one's easier than the V6, but balance shaft, some cam stuff on the front, and funny enough, this one has those issues as well. Not the balance shaft, but basically this motor is, as I said, Mercedes' successor to that, right? So they ditched the naturally aspirated, they went twin turbo because this is also the same motor that's in the S-Class, the GL, and stuff like that, and those being big vehicles, you need kind of more power. So this right here was basically their answer, and what they did with this was they just took the other one, they downsized it, but then of course adding the turbos and making it just more peppy. So they raised the power. I'm going to talk about the CLS because we'll talk about the S-Classes, because the power numbers between a CLS and an S550 are a little bit different, but we'll talk about that in a second. So a 2008 CLS 550 with the M273 made about 360-ish horsepower. I think, again, don't quote me, I'll put it somewhere down here you guys can see. But this one makes about 405. So, nothing crazy, but let's be honest here, with twin turbos, all you really need is a tune and maybe an exhaust, and you're probably going to be pushing like 450, 460, so maybe even more. But they definitely made this car a lot more alive, because while the CLS 550 in the previous gen was a decent car, it was quick and everything, it wasn't like crazy. I mean, it wasn't like this car quick. And you guys may be sitting there thinking, well, it's like 40 horsepower. Who even notices? Trust me, when you floor this one, you notice, because this thing moves. But again, this thing is not without its issues. So the M278 does suffer from a few things. If you have an engine built before 2012, so if you open up your door, even though this is a 2012 CLS, on the door where the VIN number is, it'll say when it was built. This specific one was built 11/11, which is November of 2011, so it's before 2012. And it does have an issue where it has the old school timing chain guides and their tensioners, so they tend to have a little bit more problems. If you get a car that's 2013, you won't have to worry about it because it's already had the timing chain stuff revised. But again, I mean, it's not crazy, it just depends on your oil changes. I know in the forums I was reading somebody that has an S-Class, and he was mentioning that he's having issues with the timing chain stuff, and it's because he thinks it's because he was doing oil changes at 10,000 miles, which, guys, if you own one of these, don't do 10,000 mile oil changes. Do like 3 to 5. I do like 5,000, maybe a little bit less, depending on it, and I use liquid moly. Again, oil is probably use your own choice, but do like 3, maximum 5,000 miles, because while they say 10,000, it's not good for the motor. Don't do 10,000 mile oil changes. That's stupid. But another issue this thing has is So on the front of the motor, you have, of course, the cam sensors, which tell basically the computer where the adjusters are at for the timing. And they tend to have issues because they have rubber O-rings when they're basically plugged into the front timing cover, and they start leaking oil. Well, unlike the previous, M273, which also has an issue where they could leak, when this one leaks, they actually travel inside the wiring harness. Yeah, so oil will travel inside the wiring harness, and it'll start throwing check engine lights, error codes for timing is too retarded, too advanced, because it can't get an accurate measurement because there's oil in the system. So the sensors aren't working right. That's easily adjustable. It takes like 20 minutes. They're literally right there. You just unbolt them, put new ones in, you're done. Other stuff, of course, you can have oil leaks from a bunch of places. The turbos, they also can leak. Mine, when I bought the car, I took it to my dad at the shop and we lifted it, and this car is perfect. It's got 0 oil leaks. Knock on Mercedes V8 plastic. It's got no oil leaks as of right now. It's literally, perfect. I mean, usually they would also leak in the back. So on the back of the motor, there's some covers. They could leak oil, and you'll notice it down by like the transmission housing and everything. It's dry over here. We even reach behind it. There's no oil on the motor. The front doesn't leak anywhere. Of course, you can have some valve cover stuff. The turbos, as I said, can leak. This one doesn't, and the turbos are healthy. You don't really hear much rattling or anything. And it drives really good. I mean, it accelerates pretty quick, so it sounds really good. Aside from that, honestly, that's pretty much it. These motors are pretty stout. They're definitely better than the BMW N63 or whatever they call. I think it's called the N63, the one that's in the 750, the 5 Series, basically the twin turbo V8. Yeah, those are no good. I mean, if somebody's in the comments going like, oh, I have one of those and they're fantastic. I don't know about all that, because the 750s, high pressure fuel pumps, turbos, oil leaks, of course, stuff like that. That's very expensive. This one doesn't have those issues. But honestly, this isn't a long video. I kind of just wanted to go over a little, make a little video kind of what you guys should primarily watch out for when you're looking for one of these. Again, always check the build date of the car, and then you can visually inspect the oil. You can just come up here and kind of pull some of the wires out. I mean, these are exposed, so you'll see if there's oil in them, you will know. This one's had it. They do have some recalls for the 2012 CLS as well. Stuff like the airbag and all that, but this car's had everything addressed. And I did mention earlier that there is a difference between the engines in this and, like, let's say a GL and an S-Class. So what I meant by that was, if I take a 2012 CLS, if I take this car and I get a 2012 S550 and we put them together, they're the same engine. I mean, literally the same thing. There's no differences. The only difference is this one is detuned to 405 horsepower, while the S-Class has like 429. So it's nothing crazy, but of course, again, I think they did it because they want the S-Class to have the most. It's the flagship, right? And it's the same thing that happened when, they created my car, the E55, and then the S55. They said the E55 had 469 and the S-Class had like 500. It was all BS because the E-Class actually makes more power. But of course, they're not going to say, oh, the cheapest 55 has the most power. You know what I mean? So regardless of all that, they're the same car. If you get an S-Class, you're just going to have like 20 more horsepower or something like that. But again, guys, with a tune, that's easily fixable. And I should also mention that in 2014, when they released the W222 S-Class, which was the new body style, they increased the horsepower again on that car. So that one makes about 459. So it's like 54 horsepower more than this one. And that's probably a healthy amount. Those are decently quick cars for how big they are. But honestly, that's pretty much it. The M278 is a stout motor. I do like it a lot. I am a big fan so far, and it's honestly been pretty good to me. Today I did spark plugs. I didn't film it because I don't know. I don't know if anybody's really gonna be interested in me doing spark plugs. It's only 8 of them. It's not like the E55 where it was 16 spark plugs. But on this one, it's actually not even that crazy. It's a little bit more difficult to work on this motor than the M273. I will give it that. The spark plugs in the M273 are up top, like on the middle of the valve cover, so they're really easy. It's just 2 bolts for the ignition coil and the stuff comes out. This one's a little bit more. You gotta take all these air boxes out, and there's some other stuff in there that you have to mess with. And there's not a lot of space for the back ones, but we got it done, so it wasn't that crazy. I guess the one downside to this motor is, yeah, like I said, it's just a little bit harder to work on because everything's kind of crammed in here. It seems like Mercedes hired somebody from BMW or Audi to come kind of give them some advice on how to make this less workable on for people aftermarket. But nonetheless, it's still easy. It's still, you know, relatively do-it-yourself-able, I guess. What I'm trying to say is, if you have at least some mechanical, you know, knowledge, you can work on this car. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not going to be as easy as the M113 is. It just won't. But it's not hard. I mean, it's nothing. It's not rocket science to work on this car. So, oh, I also got these. If you guys notice, these are new. So I bought these off of Amazon, and I already know someone's gonna say they don't fit. Yes, I know they don't fit. So I bought them off Amazon, and it specifically said that it's for a CLS 550. Well, you know, lo and behold, they're not. I think they're for a GL, because while they fit up here, they don't exactly fit on these. So I'm gonna return them. I've already filed the thing with Amazon. I just have to send them back, but I'm waiting for new ones to come in before, because I'm not gonna drive around with no intakes. So, and I already threw the old ones away. I mean, taking apart the old ones, they immediately crumpled up in my hands. Like, literally, they just tore up because they were already garbage anyway. So I'm waiting for that. As soon as I get the new ones in, I'm gonna send these back to Amazon, because they don't fit. I mean, you guys can see clearly, look, like this does not fit. I mean, you can clearly tell. So yeah, we're gonna have to get new ones. I'm just waiting for them to come in whenever they do. I think it's sometime this week. So when those come in, we should be good to go. And I guess that's what I get for trying to cheap out and paying 30 bucks on Amazon instead of, to be fair, I paid 30 bucks for both of them, but at the dealer, they're like $50 each. And I'm not about to pay $100 for whatever this is. I mean, plastic and like it's foam or whatever. I'm not paying that. But yeah, let me know down below, you guys. Let me know what you think about the M278. I am a big fan so far. It's honestly getting really good gas mileage too. I filled it up last Friday, about a week and 2 days ago, and it's about under a half tank now, almost over a quarter. So it's pretty good. I mean, I could probably go another 3 days. And you guys got to remember, I drive this thing decently. I don't drive it slow. I don't drive it fast either. It's not like the E55 where I just hammer it constantly. I drive it moderately well, and it's been getting me pretty good gas mileage. It doesn't seem to be anything crazy or wild. But yeah, let me know down below, what do you guys think about the M278? Are you guys fans, or do you guys think the M273 was a better motor? From what I've read online, this one seems to not have as many issues. I mean, of course, you are going to have more issues, as I mentioned, with the, you know, cam stuff that can leak and get oil into the wiring harness. Or, I mean, the turbos, sure, they might go out at some point. Everything gets old. So the turbos are a bigger point of concern than the natural aspirated. And I've heard some stuff about adjusters, the cam adjusters, but it doesn't seem to be a very prevalent issue. It just seems like if you don't do oil changes relatively, you know, within 3,000 to 5,000 miles, you can cause issues. So again, do your oil changes between 3,000 to 5,000. Don't do 10,000. Don't believe what the manual says. That's all BS. Don't do that. But honestly, yeah, I'm liking the motor, and I want you guys to let me know down below, what do you guys think about it? I look forward to all the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.